King Abdullah II has strongly attacked Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu over his handling of a shooting incident in the Jordanian capital of Amman on Monday. An Israeli guard shot and killed 2 Jordanians at the Israeli embassy. The Israeli government claimed one of the Jordanians killed had attacked the guard with a screwdriver before being shot. The second Jordanian was killed inadvertently, Tel Aviv claims, as the guard opened fire. Jordan has demanded the guard be handed over for questioning, but Israel claims he has diplomatic immunity and recalled the guard home, where he received a personal visit and welcome from Netanyahu. Since then, the two countries have remained in a diplomatic standoff, with tensions already high after Israel imposed new tighter security measures at a holy site known by Jews as the Temple Mount and by Muslims as Haram al-Sharif. But on Thursday, in a strongly worded statement, King Abdullah described Israel's response to the situation as provocative and warned that Netanyahu was threatening regional security and fueling extremism. Abdullah went on to accuse the Israeli leader of what he described as political showmanship in order to score personal political points. Netanyahu has praised the guard for acting, as he put it, calmly. The incident has led to protests across Jordan, where a peace deal signed between the two countries in 1994 remains deeply unpopular amongst Jordanians. To discuss this in a little more detail, I spoke earlier with Due-Gundersen, a Middle East cultural and political analyst, and I began by asking how much of King Abdullah's statement was really directed towards Israel and how much of it was aimed at appeasing a domestic Jordanian audience.
That's a very good question to ask. It's going to be a mixed bag, to be perfectly honest with you, because the treaty from 1994 with Israel was never popular for a variety of reasons, with the people. At the same time, the monarchy has to think of survival. And since the time of King Hussein is King Abdullah's father, the peace treaty with Israel was basically pushed to have better relations with a power in the region that has good access to Washington. And in exchange for that treaty, Israel promised to lobby on Jordan's behalf to get more aid. So we have to put this into that context that, realistically speaking, Jordan is a country with very few resources. It requires the, patronage of neighbors to survive, and Israel's links to the power corridors of Washington is a big part of that. So I do feel that the king himself, he is genuinely angry, but at the same time, he's probably thinking about how to balance the anger of the people with being a pragmatist. And this is very, very tough to do.
And what's your assessment on the way the Israelis have managed this situation? And was the decision by Netanyahu to meet the guard who carried out the shooting a mistake, given it seems to have provoked the Jordanians even further?
Yes, I think that was a mistake on the part of Netanyahu. If you want to talk about not provoking Jordanians and indeed not provoking Palestinians in Israeli territory at a time when we've had the security measures at the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem being criticized and we've had protests over it. So this is pouring fuel onto the fire. At the same time, I think that, again, Netanyahu himself will be looking at his audience, which is basically the Israelis. And from the Israeli perspective, he would probably argue that whatever happened was provoked by the Jordanian side rather than the Israeli side. So according to the Israelis, the Israeli guard in question was, I believe, attacked by a local handyman who was supposed to be fixing or delivering furniture. That's the Israeli story. And so Netanyahu is playing to the Israeli audience by meeting this person at the airport. It basically sends the message that, we are not in the wrong.
And where do you see this diplomatic row going next?
That is going to be very hard to say. I think that the first thing that King Abdullah himself needs to do is to quell his own population. We should remember, by the way, that most of Jordan's population is Palestinian or of Palestinian origin. And this means that whenever something happens in Israel or between Israel and Jordan, there's going to be a lot of tension.
Due-Gundersen, many thanks for speaking to us today on Radio Sputnik.